Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to dig into our stack of papers. I have one, and my guest, whom I'll be introducing to you shortly, has his own stack of newspapers this morning. But we're going to be dilating on all the relevant content like we usually do here. But let's start by acknowledging Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They help us every weekday to serve you the news review. And today is none different. Now, if you haven't heard about them yet, you're missing out. If you're a man, if you're a woman, they're offering special packages to you. If you're a man, prostate screening, absolutely for free. If you're a woman, fertility screening as well, for free. Now, these two areas could compromise your reproductive capacity, among others. Why wait? It's like a car. You would want to service it from time to time, right? So why don't you, as a human being, go for maintenance, aka your medical checkup? And that's why they're offering you these for free. If you'd like to reach out to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, here's where you can find them. In Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. There's Kumasi Kronumabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takra de Anaji Estate. There's Tema Community 22. There's Stichim and Hanswa and Esiama and Zama. Their call lines are you ready? 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the commencement of the news review with yours truly, and my guest is a former NUCS president. He's also a member of the governing New Patriotic Party's Manifesto Committee on Education. He's in the person of Dennis Apialabi Ampofo. And maybe this morning, just like Bukom Banku's son, Ambitious Tilapia, I'm here to grill him a little. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
It's interesting, Bukom Banku's family. He's Bukom Banku. His son is Ambitious Tilapia. Some say then the wife will be...
the tilapia.
Maybe the wife will be Tapushito. Anyway, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here again.
Tell me, if I asked you, generally, how do you feel about Ghana as a young person, in your pocket, in daily life? And I ask that question because I speak to a lot of young people and what they tell me is not pleasant. What do you see?
Well, I think that, to be fair, just like any other young person around the world, the global crisis would definitely have had an impact.
Please stick to Ghana.
Yes, I'm going to contextualize
Ghana.
I want to contextualize it. But then if I also avert my mind to the fact that there are some things we are getting right, some huge investment we're making into young people, then I got to have some confidence. A typical example is our one student, one tablet that is going to be launched today. For every single student in senior high school in our country, 1.3 million of them is going to be given a tablet. I went to university at a point where I felt I had roommates who could not operate a simple mouse. Right. And that means that there's a revolution that we must start. And that revolution may not be with a gun, but with the minds of our young people. We've got to understand that building our country will not only be at what the government does, but if you have a very skilled workforce that is up to the 21st century demand and competition around the world, that is understanding of what is happening globally, we may be able to do what Israel has done with their tech space. Right. Because you see, now Israel is called the startup nation because young people in Israel understand the tech space, the digital space. And for me...
And it's also because the environment was created for that.
That is what we're doing now. So for every single one of 1.3 million students, is given a tablet that is preloaded with textbooks, that is preloaded with past questions, a hybrid tablet that has solar and has a normal charging system that is tracked to ensure that our students are doing what will be building Ghana in the next 10 years. For me, I think that if you look at some of these things, you are brewing in confidence that 5.7 million young Ghanaians have had massive investment into the education through the free senior high school education.
Quick question. Could this not have been done without tablets? And here's the catch. Whenever these projects are done, and I've seen how the MPP likes one this, one that. Maybe very soon we'll get to one breakfast show host, one meal. One village, one dam, one district, one factory. We all know the status of that. I'll not go into that. But when it comes to all of these one this, one that, you ask yourself, you see, in politics, and there are the optics and there's the reality. There's what is aesthetic, for sure, and there's the reality. You remember the one teacher, one laptop issue?
Yeah.
You know that the teachers paid a 30% component. Yeah. till today. So many thousands, tens of thousands of those teachers don't have those laptops. Let's not even belabor the point. But when it comes to this tablet issue, people have asked, oh yeah, digital is good. But who is getting the contract to supply? What's the supply chain? Who is getting what? Is it sole sourced? Was it an open tender? What were the processes involved? Is it a party person? Because it's become the order of the day, from free SHS, food provision to everything. So those are some of the concerns. You may be hiding behind, we're doing this for the nation. Again, a tablet is not a bad thing. But do they need tablets necessarily? Could they not have, you say past questions, you load past questions and you do this. Is this something they couldn't have had otherwise? In other words, is this also something, what we're going to invest in this, that we couldn't have expended on maybe a need that is greater than what we're doing? The fact
is that there is no need greater than investing in the digital mindset of our young people, investing in the digital or technological acumen in our people. Let's not belabor the matter. There are institutions which are responsible for checking the propriety of our procurement processes and what have you. What I have concerns as a young person is that, one, we save a lot of cost when we move some of these things to the tablet, because you have textbooks that ordinarily would have cost us more, you have past questions that would have ordinarily cost us more, all loaded on a simple tablet. Then again, this is a transition from our analog society into a digital space, where we don't have a young man get to an interview room and is asked to operate a PowerPoint and is struggling to operate a PowerPoint, because right from day one, the person is getting closer and closer. Guess what? In Estonia, we have young students at around 8 years who start learning coding. That is an entire industry being developed.
8 years is even too late. In other countries, they start before.
Good. So it means that we have young people who, in the next 10 years, will be able to revolutionize our agriculture, our water supply, our accounts, our commerce sector, because right from day one, they are abreast and they are open to the new things of the world. And guess what? We are not competing against Ghanaians. We're competing against an edge-cutting global environment. So our efforts to upgrade our young people is an effort that will pay dividend in the next few years to come. And guess what? I am convinced that Ghana is doing something right when it comes to our education space. I am convinced that regardless of our flaws, our investment into priority sectors, priority areas, technological areas, is going to change our scope in 10 years. Now we may be belittling and trivializing that, couldn't we have given them textbooks, couldn't we have given them past questions? But in 10 years to come, with the plethora of examples of advantages that would come with it, would realize that investing one tablet into every single person is not going to just change our educational sector. No, that is not just the focus. It's going to create an entire new industry where young people would be running our space in a digitally friendly manner.
All right. Let's get into other matters very quickly. We'll get into the newspapers and find out what exactly they have to say. If you join the conversation from the feed, I've seen that the initial feed has been truncated, maybe because of internet connectivity issues. So the news review, if you hopped on to the first one, join. There's another link that has been provided now because I saw immediately. So hop onto that. I see a message, and it reminds me of something that a friend was sharing with me yesterday about a gentleman who's so frustrated with life, he wants to commit suicide. And my friend had to counsel this person. This person was texted during church service. I'm only bringing this up because guess what? In the train of messages in the new feed, I see someone, Kato Tiones, say, "Hello, dear friends, I'm really thinking of committing suicide. I just need to talk to someone." And I see someone respond, "Go ahead and kill yourself." No, don't. You see, don't take these things for granted. I do know there are scammers out there. Don't think I'm not an idiot. I know. But there are also people, you never know who actually is in there. I've dealt with 2 people like that before, twice. Not very pleasant. So don't take it for granted and don't send responses like "go ahead," and you never know. So, Kato, reach out to me. Just look for me on Facebook, Benjamin Akakpo. Send me a friend request and drop me a Facebook Messenger message. I'll talk to you, right? And if you need help, I will speak to some people who can actually give you the help. That is if this is a genuine issue. So Kato Tionest, if that is your real name, reach out, ignore the comment from Yao, and let's see what happens. So we have a stack of newspapers here this morning. Later, I'll give you the opportunity of talking, and if it slips my mind, remind me about the smart schools and the launch later today. But I'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. We're going very quickly. President assents to contracts bill. Act prohibits compound interest payable by state. Yeah, he will go on accepting bills, but you know that other one. It's in the sea. Speaking of the sea erosion threatens defense wall projects. And then Ghana sweeps its highest medal haul in African Games. I'll get to this one and I'll have a lot to say. Graphic UPSA signed MOU to promote business. But let me start from the back page. Ghana sweeps its record medal haul in African Games. And African Games end with spectacular ceremony. So the 13th African Games, Accra 2023, came to an end in an explosion of celebration marked by a vibrant closing ceremony and a record-breaking turnout at the University of Ghana Stadium as Team Ghana delivered its best ever performance in the history of the continental event. Surpassing all previous benchmarks, Ghana clinched a remarkable 6th place overall on the medal table, bagging an impressive total of 68 medals, 19 gold, 29 silver, and 20 bronze. This feat eclipsed Ghana's previous best of 27 medals during the 1973 African Games in Lagos, marking an extraordinary leap from its 2019 outing in Rabat, where Ghana secured 13 medals, finishing a distant 15th. So it goes on and on, but we know about the exploits of is it Samuel Techi and the Black Bombers, the boxers who represented us. We know of the exploits of course, Bukom Bankusan, Ambitious Tilapia, and then some of the athletes performing, Amwa bagging the 200 meters ahead of the Ivorian contender. Then I really have to celebrate the Black Princesses. I hope they get what is due them. Okay? Let's not just talk about, Omati and him. A day. Why are people sitting on the money? And I'm my investment. Anyway, so the Black Princesses and the Black, satellites? Yeah. They did us so proud. So all of those are in there. But, my brother, this is where I get a bit. Because Yusuf kept best ever African Games. And I was listening to the guy like, bruh. I'm sure he didn't watch Morocco in 2019. If he did, I doubt he would be saying what he's saying. I'm not taking any credit away. But you see, like in church yesterday, I met this Ghanaian family. So this family in the UK of Ghanaian extraction. A woman, her husband, and their daughter. They were all over. After Mass, because I attended church in the morning and in the evening I had to be the narrator for the Passion reading. So I was in church again. And they came to me, you're doing such a fantastic job and all of that. They spelled out why they felt that. Well, yeah, dear. Mobinka said, why yeah, dear? Best African Games and all that. Which one is the best? The UG, renovation or what that went for $34 million. That's the best. The people without kits who couldn't even find boots, Obisha 47, 46 a day. 37. The bicycle that broke, is it the power outages at the Cape Coast Stadium, among others, when Ghana was playing Ethiopia? Is it the fallout and the vindictiveness? And let's put it into proper context. And is it the infrastructure? When even the South Africans left you because of your hockey pitch, let's face it, it was good. We had a good medal haul, but a lot of it was based on the athletes themselves pushing the pedal to the metal, doing their very best regardless of the resources they had. Your take?
Ben, my problem is that when we went for the African Cup of Nations and we didn't do well, we blamed administrators. But this time around...
Because we had spent so much money and we didn't bring anything.
This time around, we've done well and we believe that administrators don't deserve credit. That is a
I never said that.
I'm coming.
I never said they didn't deserve any credit.
Your point was that our performance at the All African Games with the 68 medal haul is because of the individual performance of our allies. That's true, but individual performance is complemented by administrative prowess. That is why when we don't do well, we blame both administrators and athletes. Fantastic analysis when it comes to our flaws. But you see, the reason why some people may think that we are over emphasizing on our negatives is because, first of all, even Australia, even advanced economies do face challenges with games. Because games are, I'm coming there.
Let me quickly.
Ben, let me wrap.
I'll just let you go.
Ben, you are taking it out of my mouth.
The only point I want to make is this. Let's not even bring in Australia. When Morocco, when you say something like it is the best we've ever had, you see, then you open yourself up to, if you had said, look, we did well, and then I'll give that to you. But when you say it's the best, then I'm immediately comparing you to Morocco. I'm comparing you to the one before that. That's where the problem is. And Morocco didn't face the problems you faced.
You see, the challenge is that we take our minds, or we avert our minds from the challenges that Morocco faced. It's not as if Morocco organized.
Name the challenges.
I'm coming. You did not name the ticks for Morocco that why you feel Morocco did better than Ghana.
Right.
So let's put it there. Once you didn't name their ticks, then you don't expect me to name the flaws.
I can name them for you.
You
name their flaws.
But my problem is that we have not in any way commended ourselves on, especially with the media, with some of the parts that we did very well. And so when we skip our glory part and we move straight into our negatives, then people have the chance to say that, oh, if we don't blow our trumpet, these people, they never go blow on our trumpet give we. But my point is that to host the All-African Games is a magnitude of work, and that the flowers of the minister and everyone involved must be given to them. Then we come back to the drawing board as a nation to say that these points we got it wrong. Kits were wrong. This was wrong. But at least, if not for anything, we've seen the kind of magnificent infrastructure that we've put together as a country. I do not even want to limit the credit given to only the government or the administrative body. I want to also look at how Ghanaians came out in passionate support of our teams. Look at what happened in Cape Coast, the Black Princesses. Amazing support from the Kessil Hayford boys. Look at the kind of support Cadman had from Commonwealth Hall. For us as a country, I believe that collectively, this African nations, our African Games, underscores our effort and our determination to achieve certain things. And we do. Fine, we had hitches. Just like any other country faces HS when they are hosting such a magnitude or such weight of games. But we must give ourselves some flowers for the amount of work we've done, especially considering that it's our first time. If you interview some of the foreigners who came around, look at the amount of commendation they give to us. Yesterday, I was listening to the Nigerian journalist who underscored our excellent performance when it comes to the nutrition and the food issues. Some of these things must be highlighted as a country. Nobody's going to highlight it for us. Then after that, we can't go into our flaws. But if we jump and we speak, you spend about 2 minutes on it. Just about 10 seconds. Oh, yes, I admit we did well. Yes, we did very well. Then we go into some of the part that we did well. So when we are jumping to where we didn't do well, nobody views us as antagonizing the system. That's my personal take on it. All
right. Let's get into other stories now. President assents to contracts bill, and the act prohibits compound interest payable by state. So the president, Akufo-Addo, has assented to law, an act of parliament that prohibits the payment of compound interest by the state in transactions entered into by public officers on behalf of the state. Now, the Contracts Amendment Act 2023, that is Act 1114, sponsored by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfrey Wadame, in 2023, was passed by Parliament in July 2023, but was presented to the President for his assent only on March 5th, 2024. Daily Graphic sources have disclosed. The President assented to it on March 8, 2024. So the new measures proposed in the bill include scrapping trials on indictment except where the offence is punishable by death, as enjoined under the Constitution, or other substantive law. Provision for trials to proceed where an accused person is not personally present in court, and provision for day-to-day trials of all criminal cases, except where same is impracticable. It goes on and on, but that is the latest development on that. Let me quickly go to page 13 and take some interesting story from there, devastating story as well. Now, the ravaging sea is inching towards unprotected portions of the coast around the Abuadze thermal plant in the Shama district in the western region, threatening the long-term survival of the existing portion of the sea defense project. Now, the existing sea defense wall in the area is intended to protect the thermal units of the Volta River Authority and Takrade International Company. However, between one of the newly built Twin City Power, that is Amandi, and the VRA's thermal units is a long stretch of about 700 meters without a defense wall. That stretch is currently being eroded as the ravaging sea steadily eats away the shore. Engineers have expressed concern that the situation could compromise the Abuadze thermal plant and Twin City energy power plant installations in the long term. Just as with Keta and everything that has happened, the Ghana I know will sit down. Let this become a crisis. Let the plants be affected before, knee-jerk reaction. Let's solve the problem. I guess you know when it is best to solve something before it becomes a headache, because once it graduates into that monster, it becomes even more difficult to deal with, and you will spend more taxpayers' money. But over to you. 2 stories.
So I think that the AG deserves some lot of commendation for the amendment in the contracts law. It's a right step that saves us a lot of money, because we were subjected to the mercies of compound interest whenever we went into contracts. So now, whether you're a state agency, no matter who you are, when you're going into contract, the law forbids you from going into contract. That puts our country at the mercies of compound interest. Because compound interest, every businessman will tell you that it's neck tearing. So for me, I think that it's a good thing that we've got to. My only worry was the length of time from which the bill was passed to which the bill was transmitted.
Yeah.
I think that is some significant thing that we need to look at. Maybe
it was passed in Parliament July 2023, and it's just this part, March 5th.
That is serious.
Yeah.
That is some serious issues there. So we may have to start looking at the transmission, and in the light of what we are dealing with the anti-LGBTQ bill, then it means that maybe we may have to have a holistic conversation and procedures properly drafted towards transmission of bills from Parliament to the presidency for assenting. But on the C issue, I think that sometimes we've got to tell ourselves the honest truth. Some of these things will come back to hurt us as a country. So if you're an agency, if you're a ministry, and you are in charge, or you have oversight responsibility of these things,
so the energy ministry comes in.
We have a responsibility, because citizens will always be citizens. If you allow citizens, some of the things we do may be overreaching. If you allow nature will come at you. You are the mercies of nature. So we have a responsibility as leadership to put our monies where it protects our country.
All right. Let me just do some headlines. I'm not reading any stories further. Easter Road Safety Campaign launched. That's good to hear. Let's save lives. And in politics, big issue, new standing orders. You have the likes of Dr. John Osai Kwapong. He says the orders are bold and impressive and hold promise for the institution. Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo, Member of Parliament for South Dine, whom I'll be hosting today, says the rationale for the review of the standing orders was, among others, to address the procedural gaps in the November 2000 orders. On the international front, over 2 billion people lack access to safe drinking water. That's according to the UN. And that's why we ought to protect our water resources and not allow Galamsey to do what it will, because in the end, we may not get some to drink, we may survive now. How about your children? How about their children? That's it for the Daily Graphic. Let's get into 2 papers you have.
Okay, so first is the publisher. Talks about 5 shortlisted for Bawumia's running mate. Atamil's fate can befall Mahama. Kwesi Ahoy tells Nana to get ready. The 13th African Games records highest medal haul in the history of Ghana. Tanzania energy team understudies MP. I think that my personal concern is raised with, I don't know if you've seen Kwesi Ahoy's video. That's some neck-grabbing comments out there. What do you have to say?
Of course, you'll find it nerve-wracking.
But it is actually serious. Right. We don't talk about that as though it's a passing comment. And for me, it was quite abhorrent. If you look at Professor's posture, it's clearly an uncomfortable seat she was on, to cite the death of Professor Mills, may he so rest in peace, and link it to former President Mahama in the event he wins, and tells Professor Nana to get ready. So
what does that do, really? Especially as you're talking about debt, and we are sitting on the kind of debt we are sitting on. What does that do for you? What does it bring to mind?
Oh, I think that for as a young person, it only tells you that some of the comments that when you have the opportunity, you've got to be careful with the kind of comments you make out there. It's the first lesson I pick out of it, because now it's a headline that we are comparing the death of Professor Mills to a possible elimination or death of President John Mahama, former President John Mahama. And that is quite interesting to note. But then the publisher also speaks about 5 shortlisted for running mate. It talks about some rumors and guesses about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia presenting Akufo-Addo say Opare, Dr. Say Iyaweduchum, Irene Toshi-Adulati, Mr. Kojo Nsafwa-Opoku, and then Dr. Matthew Opoku.
The latest one I've started seeing in there is Kojo Nsafwa-Opoku, a good friend of mine. Yeah. We fight, and then when I say fight, not necessarily, but we agree to disagree, and then we also converge.
I'm wondering how his name got inside. Maybe you asked him when you meet him.
Pardon me.
Maybe you asked him when you met him.
That's not what I want to know. You are walking in those corridors. So
but then, these are all rumors, and I have said that we've got to cut some slack to the flag bearer. Let's allow him the space. Let's give him the respect. Let him make a choice and bring it so that we as a party can now decipher and take it.
Is it really going to be his choice?
I think that the constitution of the New Patriotic Party is very clear when it comes to...
Don't tell me about the constitution. Where we are sitting now. I'm sure if he alone had to do this, he would have a running mate already. We've known of the situation constitutionally, that constitution you're pointing to. They had to make room, go past the constitution. Because if you were going by the constitution, you should have a running mate. You should have had a running mate by now. You had to circumvent the constitution to allow for more time, to allow for other processes. So, and I spoke to Dr. Nyaho Tamatlo, and he said that, look, one of the reasons Dr. Bawumia is struggling even to name a running mate is because he is not his own man. I'm sure you watched that interview. So that gives room for, people thinking, I don't know whether he's his own man in getting a running mate.
I think that the concern when it has to do with, is he going to do it alone or is it going to be his decision, is something that is serious. But we've got to look at the other side. He's going to choose a possible vice president for this country. And as for that, for the magnitude of it, it cannot be just his mind. It ought to be something that is born out of consultation too.
I agree.
Whereas it emanates from him, he has a responsibility to be a listening leader, which he is. He has a responsibility to bring everybody and rally everybody around the table, because at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to work with that person. The party has a responsibility to align with the choice he's going to make. So it is only right and right and only smart leadership that you consult widely to bring everybody, so that people who do not even agree with your choice would have reasoning and will see sense in the choice and the direction you're taking.
I completely agree with you. But there's also a certain level of, when Nana Akufo-Addo wanted Bawumia, it was clear. Some party members felt this and that. And this guy, how long has he been in the party and all of that? You remember those stories?
Yeah, I do.
He stuck to him. Yeah. It was clearly Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's choice. Do you get it? There was no beating about the bush. In the case of Jane recently, it was clearly John Mahama's choice. No. Because if you look at the discussions and what we saw, the communication to us, he put her forward again, and there were consultations and all of that. But it was his choice from the start. It could have. Well, I mean, there are so many things we get to hear, interactions, but it could have been that the party could have said, because from where I sit, there were so many other names that came up.
10 months
there were so many other names that came up. And they could have chosen to go any other way. He stuck to his guns. The party deliberated, the National Executive Committee, among others, and they sided with it. I'm not saying that it was his soul, but I'm saying that when you look at these two instances, Nana Dankwa with Bawumia and John Mahama with Jane, you see a certain level of the leader himself saying, I want this person. In this instance, I don't know whether Dr. Bawumia can do that.
My only challenge is that we are not cutting slack. We are not giving the man his due. First of all, President Mahama took 10 months to name a running mate. And nobody mentioned that
his constitution allows him to do that.
I'm coming there.
Your constitution doesn't.
I'm coming there. Nobody said he's not being his own man because of the length of time.
Right.
Nana Akufo-Addo nominated Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And nobody said that he's been pushed to, regardless of the view that some caucusing might have gone behind the stage.
Right.
But when it gets to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, takes time to do consultation without any iota of evidence to suggest so. Now we say that he's not being his own man. I think that we are not being fair to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. What we have to do is to wait for him to announce and see if he backtracks. Because when Nana Akufo-Addo announced, he did not backtrack.
Right.
When John Mahama announced, he did not backtrack. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has not announced. So we cannot necessarily now come to judge that he's shaky and he's unable to make a decision.
Well, actually, I'm not saying that. It's Dr. Nyaho Nyaho Tamaklo, a founding member of your party.
I want to reserve my
comment. So if you have any way, take it to Dr. Nyaho.
On Dr. Nyaho, because I don't know what to find myself in any controversy and trouble this morning.
Good for you. Is there something else you'd like to look at before we wrap quickly?
So then the next paper I would want us to quickly look at is the Finder, a historic medal hall. Team Ghana justifies decision to host the games.
Right.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says I would be more accountable to Ghanaians. And then Koka says the announcing running mate would kill intense lobbying. And that is on the front pages. Then coastal communities grateful for the sea defense project in the coastal areas. Yeah. So that's from the Finder newspaper. Yeah.
All right. So just looking at a few stories in the Daily Guide and then Economy Times, and then we can go. And then I'll let you talk briefly about the Smart Schools project. Stop misleading public, VRA to IPGG's Alec Blim. And then Kwesi Ahoy sparks outrage in NDC. Will turn tour into profitable enterprise. That story is on page 6. Yeah. Even as the president and his entourage, Obia went to the Centu or whatever, going to launch like a beeline, the entirety of Chrome Hall. Anyway, let's do these two quick stories. A senior member of the National Democratic Congress, Kwesi Ahoy, has been criticized for suggesting that the party's flag bearer, ex-President John Dramani Mahama, may die for his running mate to take over if NDC wins this year's election. Mr. Ahoy, while proposing a toast at a ceremony honoring Mr. Mahama's running mate, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, advised her to hold herself in readiness to become president of Ghana, stating that anything can happen. According to him, John Dramani Mahama may face the same fate as the late President John Evans Atta Mills, who died in office in 2012, allowing his vice to succeed him. On this story, there is something about life and death, and I'm very careful about. So I don't know what crystal ball Kwesi Ahoy has looked into, but I'll leave him to that. Death, it's like we say in Chi. So once you start talking about death, maybe they say when you see your neighbor's beard on fire, what do? You
put yours in water.
So that's my reaction to that. On page 6. So you have crucial role to play in Victory 2024, but stop misleading public. The Volta River Authority has reacted strongly to assertions by the Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Power Generators, IPGG, Dr. Alec Blim Kwabla Apetogbo, that its export activities are affecting the supply of energy to the Ghana market. In a strongly worded statement, the VRA described Dr. Apetogbo's claims as erroneous and misleading. It goes on and on, but that's the story there. Then, finally, just wrapping with headlines from the Economy Times, FDI declines by 139.4% end 2023. That is foreign direct investment. And erratic electricity supply. PURC demands load shedding timetable. And Ghana's economy valued at 841.63 billion. But by the way, ECG, I just want to say thank you that over the weekend you behaved a bit well. Hey, you didn't know that
the hits go.
The person just go. Then you go see say, hey, they make a bed some heat inside there. Me now I feel.
I said,
what?
Then when the light way, I open my door, my window. I see they make the mosquitoes harvest.
Yeah, simple. Anyway, Smart Schools, and then we are gone. 1 minute. In fact, less than a minute. Let's go.
So I think that the Smart Schools project looks as a transition from analog educational system, where we are able to put our learning management system, that is the administrative setup, where parents can have access to their results, the results of their awards through a digital means, where students can have research without having to hassle so much just by a click of a button. So the government says that let's transition. So you have KG schools which are being integrated with digital system, and then the groundbreaking one student, one tablet policy, which means that every single one of our 1.3 million students in Ghana is going to receive a tablet. Coupled with the distribution of laptops for teachers, which is ongoing, I believe that what is going to happen is that now with a hybrid tablet, it has a solar system and it has a normal system. So if your lights go out, you still have the ability to still use it. It has an offline system and it has an online system.
Right.
It has a tracking system where we get to track every single student and what they do. And the good thing is that the revolving nature of it, if it's a sport or if it is damaged, there are 216 shops around the country, which is going to help in the refurbishment and maintenance of it. I think that if there's anything that motivates me about this project is that we're gradually shifting the mindset of our country. That we won't have people who are, because of their financial background, won't be able to have access to some of these digital means. And by the effort of government, we provide solutions to young students and young people in this country.
And today is a crucial day.
Yeah, today is a crucial day. So today there is a lunch at the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. where the president and the entourage will be launching it. And then distribution starts as soon as possible.
All right.
I can assure all students of our country that everyone is going to receive 1.3 million of our students.
All right. Do you know the total cost of the project?
That I'll leave to the appropriate bodies to deal with it. And definitely we will sit here to discuss it when it comes up.
No problem.
I am sure
you... That's what I mean, Kashi. I just asked a question, then you started... I just asked you a harmless, innocuous question.
I was telling a that this is your new studio there. It'd be like roasting avenue.
For now, you are ambitious tilapia, and I'm grilling you. Anyway, right before we go, I see Yao Hope Ahiatrogan saying, Mr. Host, I'm very sorry for my comment. I meet them every day on some other platform saying the same thing. That is the person who was talking about suicide. That is the reason I reacted like that. Yeah, I totally understand you and I accept your apology wholeheartedly. Yeah, I know there are scammers out there, but sometimes you never know. It may be the genuine article and you may say something. Right before we go to a very special person, happy birthday to you. And the message is, we wish our dear wife and mother, Professor Margaret Japon, a happy 60th birthday. We appreciate her for her selfless life, family, and professional life. So selfless life, family, and professional life. God richly bless her. It's from Johnny and the girls. And Johnny here is our very own Professor John Japon, former Vice Chancellor of the University for Health and Allied Sciences. Top of the morning to you, Prof, and to Professor Margaret Japon. Happy birthday. Have a wonderful day. Right before we go, though, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. And they're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Reach out to them at any of their branches. Across Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma Abwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Stakradi Energy State, Tema, Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and there's Siamanzima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. My guest this morning was a member of the governing New Patriotic Party's Manifesto Committee on Education, Dennis Appiah-Larbi Ampofu. He's been my guest. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
I like your suit.
That's it.
But I'm a Ghana man me channel you.
I'm a Ghana man tonight. I'm sorry no winner.
Bawumia. Okay. No, but do like I can't. Sport is up next. Do stay.